Howdy, everyone. Welcome. We are just gonna hang out for a sec while we clear the waiting room. Good morning, everybody. All right, good morning. Oh, I love all the bright and shiny faces and the good mornings. Salvador is so nice. He let you sleep in with a 10 a.m. start time. All right, we're just clearing the waiting room for half a second. All right. Okay, welcome everybody. We are so excited to see you all. It has been a long summer, maybe short for some of us too, but we have been waiting to see you all because seeing you all means it is officially like August. You're getting closer to coming back since you all are why we do what we do and love doing what we do. So the office and the union is just so quiet without you all. So we're very grateful to see your faces today. I'm going to have our team do some quick intros so you can meet everybody in the Office of Leadership and Engagement really fast. So I'm going to go ahead and kick it to Salvador to go ahead and just do a quick intro. And then Kaden, you're on deck.
Oh my gosh, I was not muted. Thank God I wasn't talking. Hi, everyone. Happy Monday. Happy August 7th. My name is Salvador Lopez. My pronouns are he, him, his, and I am the new Assistant Director for the Office of Leadership and Engagement. So I get to oversee all the student orgs and clubs that are not Greek affiliated. So nice to meet you all and looking forward to working with you all for this training and our monthly meetings. Don't forget, monthly meetings too.
Awesome. Kaden, want to do a quick intro?
Hi, everyone. My name is Caden Wright. I am the new FSL Senior Coordinator. My primary focus is just focusing on the fraternities for now.
Awesome. And we just started 2 hours ago. We're going to kick it to Elise to introduce herself.
Hi, sorry, I don't know if my camera's working, but my name is Elise and I'm the new GA for the Fraternity and Sorority Life.
Awesome. And Meredith also started 2 hours ago. So welcome.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to be working under Salvador, so I'll be working with the orgs that aren't the frats or sororities.
Awesome. And then the other two people who are able to make it here today are Nancy Navarro and Marissa Griffin, who are also part of our team. My name is Michelle Gardner. I get to be the director of our department of leadership and engagement. And our area oversees all of our wonderful student organizations, as well as a variety of other things. So I just wanted to give a super quick synopsis of what all we do. So we have various leadership programs, including the EDGE leadership program. I know many of you have been a part of that program. The Student Leadership Conference, Black Leadership Summit, which is coming back this year, which is exciting. We manage the Gold Axe Awards. We advise our student government. And then we also have a huge role in homecoming and welcome week. We're really all about getting students plugged in our office, which all of you do just that, which is awesome. So we also manage, which we'll go dive into shortly, True Blue Connects and among other things. So we're just really about getting students connected. Our number one mission in our on our team is to get every single student involved in a club. So you all help out with that. And we just believe that you all do such great, amazing things that really help people enjoy life at NAU. And so you all are part of that journey to help get every single student involved. So we're about 1 in 3 students are involved in a student organization at NAU. So we're getting there. I just want to do thank you all for your wonderful good mornings in the chat this morning. I'd love if you could throw in the chat just something fun you did over summer. I know summer, you still have a couple weeks, but so feel free to throw in something you've already done that was super fun. It could be sleeping in, to you watched a new Netflix show, to you went on a cool vacation, anything. Throw it in the chat. We want to see the awesome stuff you've been doing this summer, and then we'll live vicariously through you. Throw it in the chat. I'm going to pick out a few to highlight. Oops. Oh yes, I'm sure many of y'all saw the Barbie movie already. I can't believe I haven't seen it yet. But oh, traveled to Lithuania. Oh, a lot of travel. Jessica went to New Mexico, Marley went to Hawaii. Oh, so much travel. Road tripping. Oh, somebody's road tripping right now. I hope you're not Zooming and road tripping while driving. Oh, Greece. All your family, Zoya, your family got a puppy. Oh, that's awesome. That's so fun. Oh my gosh, Germany, Argentina, y'all are all over the map. I'll work. Let's see. A lot of going to Hawaii, a lot of going back to California. Swam in Hawaii. Whoa, learned 3D modeling. That sounds really cool. Went to a concert. Lots of road trips. I don't know if anybody is up in Flagstaff, but on Friday night, I just went and saw Young the Giant was here in town with Milky Chance, and it was amazing. So we do have a really cool concert venue in Flagstaff at the Pepsi Amphitheater, if you're ever interested. It's pretty awesome. Okay, well, we have a packed agenda for today. And I know one of the big things that I always get asked and want to be sure we're all on the same page about is, how do you know that I was here? So what we'll do is we're going to roll through this training, and then at the very end, we're going to share a link in the chat. And that link will have all of y'all go to, and it's just a quick form. It's super quick. I think it's 7 questions. It's just asking your name, your what club you're a part of, and then it's got like just a few little questions to make sure you were paying attention and everything, and understand what all you're responsible for as a club leader. And so we'll fill that out at the end, and then we'll do the same thing on Wednesday when we have part 2 of the training. So that'll be at the very end, and that's how we will get capture attendance for everybody. Throughout, please feel free to throw questions in the chat. We know, because we get to support you all, there's so much to running an organization on campus. That's our whole job, is to support you in doing that. But we also know that there's so many details. And so we want to be sure that you leave here feeling very confident in running an organization, feeling knowledgeable, knowing where your go-tos are. And we tried to capture a lot of different topics, but we also know it's a lot of topics in a short amount of time. So we're going to do our best to roll through those, but please utilize the chat feature so we can be sure all your questions are answered. But otherwise, here's our schedule for today. So we are going to roll through some resources, do some True Blue Connects work, talk about some, how do you get food at your event, talk about what if we want to go as a club on a road trip, as well as some new opportunities that we've been working on over summer for you all. And then we'll do some wrap up at the end. So we've got a packed agenda, but we are so ready to roll if y'all are. Salvador, would you add anything?
No, I think you got it all. I do want to ask to be patient, as it's only me and Michelle currently answering all the questions you might have in the chat. So just if we don't respond to them or we don't see them, feel free to post them again. One of us will catch it and reply to you. So yeah.
Awesome. And please note, I know some of y'all have been club leaders for a while. There are some significant changes that happened over summer. So please be sure you are paying attention and noting these shifts that have had to happen just to university changes and everything too. So we will do our best to be sure to explain the why behind things, but also just again to make you feel very confident in running your student orgs this year. So, okay, well, I think we will go ahead and dive into the first topic, which is web resources.
That's me. Yay, awesome. All right. Perfect. So we have, like Michelle mentioned, we do have a lot of content to show to you. A lot of it's going to be similar to last year. We have made some changes, as we previously mentioned, and there's certain things that we have changed in our website, but then also in our manual. So just keep that in mind as we move forward when we're discussing this. If for some reason you can't see my actual page, Michelle's going to stop sharing in a couple minutes, but if you can't see my page, just let me know. First and foremost, I'm going to share my screen real quick. Okay. Are you able to see it? Yes. Yay. Awesome. I'm getting better at this. All right. So first and foremost, I do want to show you two specific websites that are going to be your best friends moving forward. And I do mean that because it has all of our specific resources that I need to make sure that you all understand. We love helping you. We love supporting you as much as possible. But at the same time, we understand that there's certain things that you need immediate support on. And we're supporting 400 plus clubs in org at the same time. And it's only a small team. So it's only 6 of us while 400 plus of you. And that's just clubs. So in case that you need immediate assistance or need to find an answer for anything, this is going to be your best friend when it comes to our website. So I just went in there, but to get in there quickly is just neu.edu/get involved. If you go in here, this is our main website where you will find our specific.
Salvador, right now we only see your desktop.
Oh my gosh. What?
You've got a lot going on there.
Can you see it now?
Yes, we're good. And that was the get involved site. You just had it. Oh, and then you just took it away.
Oh.
There you go.
Hey, yay. Okay. So as I mentioned, it was neu.edu/get involved. That's our main website where you're going to be able to not only see a bunch of our sectors when it comes to fraternity, leadership, and engagement, but you also get to know us. So on the right side, you'll be able to see exactly what our mission, vision, and values is all about. Our lovely end of year report, and this is all made up thanks to you all, and I'll talk a little bit more about it in a couple of minutes, but you'll see our entire team for this upcoming academic year. So obviously pictures and lovely get involved stories are coming up as we speak. But in case you have any questions, here is our entire team moving forward. But if you scroll all the way down, you'll be able to see 3 specific areas: fraternity and sorority life, leadership, and engagement. So if you're a specific Greek chapter, this is your main area or hub where you'll be able to find exactly your chapter on the current communities listed. Meet the chapters. If individuals want to find out or have students recruit, you want to recruit members for your chapters and say, hey, look at our website. Look at other chapters, so on and so forth. Specifically, if you're representing a council, it's a great opportunity for you to just refer students to meet the chapters where each council is represented and each chapter should be listed underneath. Okay, I'm going to go back. You'll also find a little bit more about each council if you're Greek, the services that provide, the academic support, the accountability, and how to join a specific chapter as well. And as you know, we have wonderful resources on the right side. If you need support with your chapters, how to join a chapter, philanthropy, academic excellence, your specific communication, which we'll talk about a little bit more later, it's neu.greeks@neu.edu, and there is a phone line that you need to do. Reach out if you have any questions and want to have a quick little conversation. That will be through Marissa, through Kaden, or through Elise or GA. So that is FSL. Lovely. I'm a current member. We do have another section, but there's again wonderful resources for you to utilize. So again, everything should be accessible at all times 24/7 through our website. So we go back to our main website, then I'm going to go into leadership. And as Michelle mentioned previously, we do have specific student leadership programs for all of you to partake on. This upcoming in 2 weeks, we have the Edge Leadership Experience Program, which is offered for first-year students, and our office is pretty busy planning all of that. But that's just one of many that we have for this upcoming academic year. You can learn more about by clicking on the actual accordion section that you want to learn about. So one that's coming up is yes, Edge, but one that's happening in October is the Presidential Leadership Fellows, which is for sophomore and junior students. More to come. Registrations we are now taking registrations, which is amazing. So if you're interested in being part of this leadership program, up to 30 people that we're admitting for this cohort, feel free to apply as soon as possible. But again, we had the Student Leadership Conference that a lot of you actually presented on last year and or attended. We have a brand new addition to the family, and we're bringing it back again, the Black Leadership Summit, which is happening in February 2nd. We're so excited. So learn more about that. And then we also have our new leadership program 2 that we did in the past spring, and now we're bringing it back in the fall, and is a Hispanic Latino leadership program. So we have all these specific leadership opportunities for you all to attend at a free of cost. So feel free to learn more about it. Great resume builders moving forward too, as you continue to transition to your academic journey and so on and so forth. And then last but not least, the third sector that we have is the engagement, which is our amazing clubs and orgs, all of you. So it talks to you a little bit more about exactly what we do, how to start a club, True Blue Connects, which is something that you all should hopefully know about, but we'll talk about more in greater detail moving forward. How to get involved, leading your club, advisor support. So all of these specific resources that we have for you, again, are accessible to you. Our specific email has been studentorgs@nau.edu. So any questions you might have, you can always email them to the specific Outlook email. And we'll talk to you a little bit more about our actual line of communication and later today on what is our first primary contact method of communication, what's our second, what's our third, so on and so forth. So that way there's no misunderstanding or you're not getting a reply and so on and so forth. So this, again, another great area for you to get resources. But then we did create a website where it's super simple for you to just access club resources and not go through our entire website, which we would love if you actually go. But again, sometimes you need to just go to a resource and get there. So that's when we created that nau.edu/club resources. And you could access this website too through our main page. But this is exactly all the resources that we have listed and available for all of you as active club officers or chapters. As you can see, there's so many of them. But I'm just going to point out a couple ones that are used more often than others. So some that haven't been utilized as much, but you should. And one of them is the Student Organization Manual. Please, I beg you, from the bottom of my heart, please download a copy to your desktop, to your drive, whatever you need to do, because every single 99% of your questions, the answer is in this handbook. We don't mind answering any questions you might have whatsoever. We're here to support you, but I understand that a lot of the questions we do refer to you to the manual because it is literally right there. We just need you to review the specific section. This one is the outdated version. We have the new version fresh off the press, which should be available hopefully by the end of the week. So don't look at this one. I'll show you the new one in the next section. But that's just where you could retrieve the student manual. You will also be able to retrieve it and Teams, and we'll talk about Teams later as well. We'll talk about club funding. We have a bunch of resources for you to fund your events, food, all that great stuff. Food waivers, as a friendly reminder, you cannot have any outside food that is not catered by Sodexo without an approved food waiver. We'll talk about that later. Club storage, which is something brand new that we're bringing, and we're super excited that we're going to talk about in a couple of minutes too. Hazing policy and prevention, which we have just updated as well. Individual consultation, sorry. So in case you need support or assistance on a one-on-one basis, whether it's with Kaden, me, Michelle, Marissa, Elise, whoever it is, you're more than welcome to email us and we'll be able to meet with your club officers, whatever you need. Club headquarters, more information to come about that in the next couple of hours. All these great, amazing individual resources that you can utilize. And you also have access to the link where it takes you straight to True Blue Connects. And I'm not going to dive into True Blue Connects just yet because we have a whole section about that. But that's basically the two specific websites, software websites that I want to make sure that you all know about moving forward, in addition to Microsoft Teams, which again, we'll talk about later. Is there any questions, comments, or concerns at this moment in time? Pretty simple, right? Okay. Perfect. All right, now I'm going to show you our wonderful, wonderful fresh off the press manual. All right, here it is. Well, 2023. How exciting. If you have this manual from previous years, so aka last academic year, we give you permission to throw it away, rip it, burn it, whatever you want to do. Because there's been a lot of changes since last academic spring and fall semester. So that one is no longer valid. This will be the new version where all the policies, regulations, and processes have been updated and that we're going to make you accountable for moving forward. If it's listed here in this upcoming new manual, then it counts. So I'm going to just talk very quickly about certain sections, but primarily more about other sections based on certain mistakes that I've been recently seeing with specifically your re-registrations and all that great stuff. So just bear with me as I scroll down through this manual. Again, it should be, this manual should be hyperlinked by the end of the week to NAU.edu/club resources, and you should have it in Teams at the same time. And I'll show you where we're going to house it in there too. So if I scroll all the way down, you'll find a lovely, wonderful table of contents information for you to, again, figure out exactly what area or resource you are actually in need of. So in case, for example, you have a question, you're really looking forward to the answer and you want to just go there, it is already hyperlinked. So meaning that whatever actual area or category you're looking for, you can just click on it and it will take you directly to the specific page. So very, very easy, super, super user-friendly. We have the student organization basics, True Blue Connects, all the categories that we could think of, or you think of, they should be available to you. University policies, event planning, marketing and publicity, financial considerations, fundraising, student organization travel, which we have updates for every single area here moving forward. So first and foremost, student basics, as we all know, you are required to have at least 5 members in your specific club. That hasn't changed, but we're being a little bit more strict when it comes to making sure that you follow our specific procedures and any policies, to be honest. And what I mean by that is, as you remember, most of you have been dealing with me. And I say dealing because maybe you don't like me right now because I declined your source so many times. And I apologize for that, but it's not just policies that we create, it's also NAU. So I hope that you also understand that aspect. Do keep in mind that you do have to have still 5 members in your organization or club to be active at NAU. 5 out of those members are required to be, 2 out of those members are required to be officers. It could be a president or vice president, president or treasurer, president or secretary. It doesn't really matter what specific office positions you really want in your organization or club, is whatever you feel they're in need of. I know that for specific grade chapters, you are required to have specific positions or certain policies here and there. And obviously that's when Kaden and Marissa and Elise will talk to you a little bit more in detail about them. But obviously everybody has been approved. Everybody who's in this call should be approved. You realize too that a lot of you got denied because your specific officers who you listed as officers were denied because they didn't have a 2.25 GPA. That is a requirement that cannot be waived. So every single officer, anybody who was marked as an officer in your specific club roster need to have a 2.25 GPA. If not, that's why your SOR got denied, or your if for some reason your club is your club officer, one of them or 2 or 3 are not up to academic standard, which is for us a 2.25. That's when you get to communicate with us because they can no longer be an officer for your club. So that's one reason why you got declined multiple times for your specific re-registrations. So just wanted to point those 2 specific aspects. Another reason why a lot of you got unfortunately declined for your re-registrations, which hopefully for this upcoming academic year in April, hint, you shouldn't be able to, you shouldn't be declined anymore. But a new policy that we require you to add into your constitution was the removal process of a club member and officer. So there's been a lot of conduct issues, a lot of policies and certain situations that we have to make this requirement mandatory for every single club and organization, no exception. So we require all of you to have in your constitution a removal process for a club member, a regular club member, and an officer / board member. And we provided you with a specific example here. And this example is still similar to the one that we have from the previous academic year manual. But just know that moving forward, you do have to have one. We were very flexible. We did decline a lot of them, a lot of your registrations because you didn't have this specific process, but moving forward, it should be good. This upcoming academic year, we'll talk a little bit more about this process since it will be a requirement moving forward. Even it's not a requirement, but moving forward, it will definitely continue to be a requirement for every single chapter, club, and organization. So just keep that in mind. It is useful to have either a lot of clubs find it easy to have a removal process for both parties. When I mean as regular members or club members or officers, a lot of people wanted to have two different processes, which is totally fine. Is whatever fits your standards as long as we understand what the process is. It meets our expectations, and you're good to go on that part. So that was just another requirement that we added. Last year we added it. We weren't really strict about it, and now this year we have to be strict on that. Just scrolling down a little bit more, types of organizations, as you all notice. All the types that we offer that you're able to be categorized as. Something that I do want to keep a note on is for sports clubs. Remember that you are not a sports club if you have not completed a sports club application. We'll talk about how to be a sports club moving forward because that policy also has changed. So we'll keep posted on that in a little bit. The procedures of re-registering, then we love SOAR. That's amazing. I know I love it because I approve every single one of them, but that's okay. So just keep that in mind. Statements about fraternity and sororities, registrations. Fraternities and sororities do have a specific additional requirement. And then obviously Marissa, Kaden, and Elise will talk to you all later about that. For sports clubs, we did have a lot of issues with a lot of sports clubs, unfortunately not re-registering. Remember that you do have to have two processes. You have to re-register with our Office of Leadership and Engagement, and that is the SOAR. And then you have to re-register with campus, with a sports club under Campus Rec. So you have two specific processes to register. If you never, ever have registered with the sports clubs team in Campus Rec, then you're not considered a sports club. So keep that in mind. You have to have that categorization to be able to be considered a sports club. More information and all the greatest details on how to become a sports club is all here. So make sure that if you're willing or interested in actually being a sports club, feel free to take this into greater detail, read it, and feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Perfect. Privilege and actually what it is for you to become an active student org and club or chapter here. We offer a lot of resources, but you just listed a few of them. We have storage access, we have funding access, we have headquarters access, we have resources, all you name it, we have it for you to be utilized at your own convenience. As much as possible, obviously respectfully, because you could lose access if things are not managed carefully or you're being disrespectful or your organization has any specific conduct issues. Please keep that in mind. So I definitely encourage you to actually reread the privileges of being an active member. You all are amazing and you do a lot of things, and we want to make sure that we provide this process as easy as possible to actually bring and uplift a community here on campus. You are a community, so we want to make sure that you have the resources to expand your community to all students if possible. So again, you do have a lot of benefits in just being an active club member here at NAU. Look at this lovely picture. Wow. True Blue Connects. We'll talk about True Blue Connects in a lot of it, but this is going to be your hub when it comes to submitting event/meeting requests. Michelle's going to talk very highly detailed on how to submit those because we also have been getting a lot of mistakes on them. So hopefully after we talk about this today and you review the manual, then you'll be able to avoid those mistakes moving forward. So again, remember that, and you could go to nau.edu/clubs to access True Blue Connects. This page just talks to you about what our common office positions are, the president, the vice president, the secretary. This is also a very good manual / helpful tool to decide what exactly in your specific organization or chapter should a president really focus on. If your president in your organization seems like this role fits your specific needs in your club, then perfect. And maybe you should add that in your constitution, right? And maybe you could add it as you see fit. But just know that this is a really, really great tool for you to know exactly what positions are actually beneficial moving forward for your specific organization. Something that we want to also highlight, and we want to highlight it even more, was because, again, this was a big issue when it came to your re-registration this upcoming year, was transition to officers. So a lot of you, unfortunately, did not complete it 3 months ago, did not complete it SOAR, because you were new to this club, you were new to this chapter, and your previous president or vice president never gave you information about what to do about SOAR or how to submit an event, right? Well, now moving forward, we're really, really being strict and making sure that all of clubs and orgs do have a transition process when it comes to transitioning officer from one officer to another. That way we could avoid not having you all submit your SOAR on time, avoid submitting your SOAR late or anything like that. So please, if you haven't done so, and we're going to talk a little bit more about it during our monthly meeting in November or in January. I think in both of those meetings, we're going to talk about it. Please make sure you create a transition plan so that we can avoid those specific risk on not getting you active for this upcoming academic years and for the next ones coming up too. It will be good to have an officer transition binders. We have this from last year and a lot of you have utilized it. So congrats. All of you did amazing. Others did not utilize it. That's totally fine as long as you meet the expectations. But just know that these transition binders are really helpful for a lot of clubs and orgs to make sure that things don't fall off the crack. So again, officer transition meeting outline, just a really great tool for you to just access moving forward. Another great picture. Yay. Student organization advisors, that hasn't changed. Obviously, every single advisor and coach is required to take specific trainings, such as the Clery Act, the CSA crime report, all that great stuff. Your specific advisor needs to be a full-time faculty and or staff member NAU. And they have to be active. They cannot be in sabbatical or on leave. So just keep that in mind. A lot of you added a advisor and they never realized that this person left NAU, or added an advisor and didn't realize that this faculty was in sabbatical, right? So just keep in mind that you stay active with your with your advisor for your club, not academic advisor, sorry, your advisor, to make sure that you're staying consistent, making sure that you are seeking their help and support, and not just to have an advisor to just get the check mark of you are actually a club. It's important because a lot of your advisors do want to be part of your specific process in this journey of being a club on campus. So it's very beneficial for you all to stay connected with them. And we'll talk a little bit more about their specific roles. For some specific clubs, we only make, and we realize that there's some clubs that have struggled with finding a full-time active faculty and or staff as an advisor due to not having a lot of individuals either interested or on campus and so on and so forth. So we have provided some flexibility on that, but just know that ultimately we'll be checking back with you and making sure that you do have a active advisor moving forward, as well, primarily to fraternity and sorority life as well. So we're just gonna scroll down. We're gonna have all these conversations moving forward too with your specific advisor. Their training is tomorrow, and we'll specifically tell them exactly what their responsibilities are, their expectations moving forward. They have also their own very tiny manual that we're gonna discuss for them too, and their specific liability for being your advisor. So I definitely encourage you to all, for you all to read this too, so that way you are on the same page with your advisor. Or if your advisor is not meeting the expectations that you want them to meet, then maybe you have to have that talk and maybe find a different advisor that is willing to provide more effort or support, whatever your club or your officers need, see fit. Lovely resources, as we always provided you all with. The website is a great resource, but the website does give you more context about it and also our specific manual. So remember that we have mailboxes available for your specific club if you want any specific mail to be sent out to NAU. Again, read more about this club storage, we're so excited about, and I know all of you, most of you, if not all, sorry, been wanting club storage, which more details to come in the next upcoming hour. So more information about that, website and emails, that information really hasn't changed. Club headquarters, a lot of you haven't really utilized these resources. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Michelle will talk a little bit more about that, but just know that this is a resource for you to utilize as much as possible. Lumberjack Club Fair, we're super excited because we had 3 club fairs this fall. Our first one is kicking off on the 25th of August at the Petway in the University Union, 1 to 3. Yes, 1 to 3, which we're super excited. The final list went out in teams. So we're super excited to have all of you there. At this moment, we're not taking any Lumberjack Club for signups, but know that every single academic year, we do take inputs through a Qualtrics survey, aka a form that you have to fill out for your organization. So that hasn't changed. We'll talk about tracking and submitting service hours to a lot of your org, specifically fraternity and sorority live track service hours. So we'll show you how to do that moving forward in True Blue Connects and the Lumberjacks Lounge, which we're super excited because another great resource for all of you to utilize during the evenings and weekends, and it's free. So Michelle will talk a little bit more about that too moving forward. But it's great. Lumberjacks Lounge is going live and we can't wait for you all to utilize it. University policies. We have a lot of policies, as you all know, student code of conduct. We'll talk about hazing, a very detailed training about hazing for you all to understand exactly what it's all about and how your specific club and org needs to prevent any specific action from hazing. So Marissa will discuss that a little bit more in detail in the next upcoming trainings. We'll talk about conduct. Obviously, if your organization or members do have any type of specific conduct issue, we'll discuss that as an entire team or group, and then and how it affects your club. So as you know, we do have specific first week, finals week policies, as you know, and if you are in teams, because your club specifically selected 2 members to be in that team's channel. As a reminder, we usually have the specific policies of when you can host meetings, when you can host events, when can you stop hosting meetings, when can you stop hosting events, when can you book fall events, when can you book spring events. So all this information is here as well. And then also will also be in Microsoft Teams. Weapons policy, you cannot have a weapon on campus at any time whatsoever, with the exception of completing a waiver and getting it approved. So read more about this. If for some reason your club needs an axe, right? Because they want to showcase an axe because we're lumberjacks, but we still cannot have an axe here. You will have to fill out a waiver and get it approved by the NAU Police Department. So all this information and details are here provided for you to access and review as well. Another great picture of tailgating, I think. Event planning. Oh, this is great. All these events have been coming left and right, which is amazing. Event planning is happening. All of you can actually submit your event/meeting request forms in True Blue Connects. Again, Michelle's going to talk a little bit more in detail about it, but just know that that is happening. You're more than welcome to start. If you're an active member, which all of you should be here, active club, sorry, and all active clubs should be in this meeting. You're more than welcome to have your specific designated True Blue Connects person and start submitting those requests. We'll talk a little bit more about how to follow up and all that great stuff. But just know that you're now welcome to start submitting your requests. Information on what to do when it's off-campus approvals, on-campus events approvals, all that great stuff. Please, we ask you to read this very, very carefully, since a lot of you unfortunately do get frustrated or annoyed that your events keep getting denied. That's because either you're not following the instructions correctly, and all the instructions are either listed in our website or on our manual. So make sure that you review this carefully. And also they're listed in Teams. You just keep that in mind as well. Sponsored third parties, working on campus dining. We'll talk a little bit more about dining and your resources, contracts, campus off speakers. I know all of you have want to bring off campus speakers, which is amazing and outstanding. A lot of great speakers out there, but just know that you read the policies and campus events, and our team will also be able to help you out as much as possible. Showing movies, ticket events. Again, if you have, for example, you have an event and you're actually charging An entry fee, that's just an example. You are required to go through CTO, which is the central ticket office. So that's just an example, and you'll see the fees here and all that great stuff. And that's facilitated through TrueBlue Connects through your events and thanks to the help of campus events. So all this great information you find here. Oh, look at that, Swing Jacks, great picture. Oh, let me go back a little bit. I think this page, very important too, in terms of how to plan inclusive events, what things to consider when it comes to religious backgrounds, rituals, traditions, all that great stuff. Please keep in mind when you actually are hosting events, you keep in mind of what exactly are you trying to host or showcase in this event or meeting, right? Make sure that it is culturally appropriate and not harming or insulting any other people's culture, religions, or backgrounds. So just make sure, and we'll talk a little bit more about diversity, equity, and inclusion and on Wednesday's training, but just know that we need to make sure that you're understanding that creating an inclusive event or meeting is essential for us moving forward to make sure that we're inclusive to every single specific NAU student and or person. Marketing and publicity, there's a great tabling, flyers, information, chalking, please don't chalk. Facebook and other social media platforms, TV monitors. So a lot of you actually reach out to our office and say, how can I market this flyer? Can you post this on our Instagram and all that great stuff? Can you put our flyer in the screens in the union, right? All this information is amazing. And we want to make sure we market your events as much as possible, your meetings, whatever you want us to market, as long as it's appropriate and meets any policies and our requirements, we'll market for you, right? And you might wonder how to market. So here's a whole section where you are able to either order banners or market through social media or in the TV monitors, all the great stuff. So again, in the radio even too. So again, you have a lot of options to advertise your specific events. Just keep that in mind. Financial considerations, we'll talk a little bit more about that, but just know that we're not in charge of your money. You're in charge of your own club's money. We'll talk a little bit more in detail, but very briefly. So just know that another whole section on how to start a bank account, it's available in our manual for you to access at any time. Really great detail on how to support. This section also talks about how to fund a specific event. Each specific funding, let me scroll a little bit up, you'll notice that ASNAU has an option for funding. STAG has an option for funding. So all, which stands for Student Activities Council, and so on and so forth. So this section itself also adds opportunities for you to find different resources on how to fund your events or activities or whatever you're trying to host, right? Please read this carefully again too, because there's certain specific funding options that do have specific restrictions, policies or requirements for you to be able to apply for this funding, right? So read this carefully. Each one has their own specific requirement. So if it doesn't make sense, obviously there's the individual hyperlink or the email hyperlink or the website, whatever it is, for you to go in and either access their specific contact information for you to ask these follow-up questions. It's great to just ask follow-up questions before you do all the work and then get denied because you didn't read the last sentence of this bullet point that didn't meet your requirement or something like that. So just keep that in mind. Sodexo, we love Sodexo, so make sure you read this too. We'll talk a little bit more about the funding. Fundraising, we do have specific policies when it comes to fundraising. And again, I'm going pretty fast because you're going to have access to this by the end of the week, but just know that this is a wonderful resource for you. Fundraising, certain policies for you to access and also be aware of that you want to fundraise, like bake sales. What can you not permit? What you're not permitted to do on campus, bake sales, raffles, date auctions, all that great stuff. So before you submit a TrueBlue events request, please make sure that you're meeting expectations, you're not breaking any policy from our office and or NAU. All of you do host a lot of off-campus events and trips, which is amazing because that means our entire lumberjacks are traveling everywhere. Amazing, which is outstanding, right? But there are certain requirements that we need you all to complete before you actually are off to your adventure as a club or as an officer and so on and so forth. So again, we have a whole section, very quick section about this. But again, your guidelines will be here. how to run university shuttles, buses, cars, safety guidelines, all that great stuff for you to access. Risk management in crisis. We do often ask in specific events requests, what is your plan for an emergency? Who is your emergency contact? So we know that because you are representing NAU, because you are a club at NAU, we want to make sure that everything is good, everything's clear, nobody's going to get harmed or hurt. So just keep in mind, again, of reading these specific policies to make sure that your event or meeting is not only inclusive and diverse, but then also that is meeting all of our safety expectations and guidelines. Crisis response, all that great and amazing things. A lot of you also going back, not wanting to go back to SOAR, but your student organization annual re-registration SOAR was often also declined because you didn't have a proper constitution document. Maybe you only added your 2 requirements that we were asking you to include, but it was only a Word document, right? Which was not acceptable. That's why a lot of you got declined too. We provide you with a really great sample constitution that you could utilize and make it your own to make sure that it meets our specific requirements and NAUs. So make sure that you read this, utilize this as an example. A lot of you have really, really amazing constitutions. Most of you because they're national chapters like Fraternity and Sorority Life, which is amazing. Others you have created your own and it looks outstanding and it meets all of our requirements. So again, this is just an example. You don't really have to use this one, but use this as a really great example or as a base on how your constitution should look like moving forward. That way it could prevent from your specific perspective, prevent us from declining your SOAR for this upcoming academic year, which we don't have to worry about until April, but just know. Scrolling down, back information, more information to come about this. Federal tax ID number that relates to your bank account as a club. So more information about that. Ongoing officer worksheet. So remember that we talked about the transition binder for officer to officer. So this is another great appendix where you can utilize on how to transition properly from one treasurer to the other, one president to the other. The incoming officer worksheet, all this great stuff. Again, this resource for you to utilize as much as possible to prevent any specific issues when it comes to miscommunication or misunderstandings. All this great stuff. And that is our wonderful, how many pages? 70-page manual for this upcoming academic year. Yay! So again, it's going to be live this upcoming week. And we'll share it with you all too, and we'll notify you all in Teams once this specific manual is live in our website. But does anybody have any specific quick questions about the manual?
Not about the manual overall, but Jackson has a great question about where do you start creating a binder for officer transitions?
What do you find?
So we don't.
Oh, sorry. Go
Oh,
ahead.
you're good. I was just gonna say we don't have a binder. That would be something you create. But we do have some great suggestions and great overviews in that club manual that Salvador just went through of what you could include in that binder.
Great question. Any other comments or questions? Any other questions?
Not yet.
All right.
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead. I guess not. All right, I think we're good. Well, we finished 3 minutes early, so that's actually pretty good. Let me.
Awesome. So like Salvador said, the manual is really a great go-to. I know it's a lot of content, but it's really a go-to it as you need it type of document, unless you feel like reading the whole thing all in one sitting, which you're more than welcome to do. But it's really like, oh, I do have a question about finances. Go to that section in the manual. So that'll be placed on the website this week, and then we'll also put it in Teams this week, so you all have access to it as you need it. Okay. I'm going to transition us into True Blue Connects things. So all of you would have been in True Blue Connects at some point to whether to accept your position as a club officer or to re-register, whatever it might be. But I want to be sure you all know True Blue Connects is really a hub for all things to run your club. So there's really it's just such a go-to for everything, to get in a room rental, to get space on any space on campus, to do things off campus, to market your club, etc. So we're going to roll through what it looks like for you to run your True Blue Connects profile as a club officer. Just note that the easiest way to get to True Blue Connects is this friendly link. It's just nau.edu/clubs. So really easy to get there. And we utilize True Blue Connects for those event approvals to get you meeting space on campus. When you want to table on campus, this is where you're going to go. Again, to market your club. It's also where you're going to go to manage your roster. So meaning who all is in your club, who has access to what in your club profile, which we'll show you. But also something, and we haven't talked about this in previous years, something really cool that it does also is it allows you to track your service hours. So that could be you as an individual, as well as you as your club. So many of you are in service-based organizations, and there's a tool that allows you to track the service hours for your members and for you as a whole organization. So then you can share out, that your club did 500 hours of service in the academic year. So it all tracks it there as well. Okay, so let me go ahead and share my view of True Blue Connects, which is, there we go. Okay. So all I did was go to that nau.edu/clubs. And because I'm affiliated as part of a couple different organizations, this is kind of my home view, if you will. So your view should look pretty similar. Mine might look a little different since I'm an administrator of the site, but you should see something with this My Memberships area. So that's where you want to click and see to where you can start managing things in your organization. If you don't have anything like this, then that should tell you that your roster is not updated. If you have a member or your advisor who's like, I don't see that, that should tell you your roster is not updated. How it works is if Maria is which she is, the president of ASNAU, she's in charge of keeping her roster updated, but also inviting people to the roster. So what that looks like is this, which I'll go ahead and click on managing ASNAU. And it'll be very slow. Okay, so all I did was click on managing ASNA, on that link to manage ASNAU, and I'm going to start with my roster. Because really the roster is, that is probably one of the #1 things that I get emails about is I don't have access to do this, or this person needs access, and you all have the control. We can do it too, but you all have the control to give people access to your club profile, to submit events, to do all the things. So this is what the ASNAU roster looks like. So a couple things, like as I'm looking through here, there's some names on here where I'm like, oh, that person graduated. Well, then they don't need to be on your roster anymore. They're gone. So that's where you can click on them. And I'm not going to do it right now because she is still here, but you can click, or maybe they just left the organization or they haven't shown up in several months. You could just click on their name right here and click End Membership, because it's important that we want to keep this as updated as possible. But I do know that this person graduated, so I'm just going to click on her and end her membership because I want to make sure that the roster is to date as much as possible. As that reloads, the other thing you'll be doing a lot of, which all of you will be doing as you're recruiting new members, is bringing people into the roster. So that's where Maria or whomever is listed as an officer on here can go and invite people. So that's right here. So if I click invite people, all I need is their NAU email address, and then I can invite them. So I'll just put my own. You just add the email, and then at the bottom, what do I want to invite them as? So maybe they're just a member, or maybe they're the new treasurer, and then I'm going to send an invite to them. And then what happens from there is they will get an email saying accept this invitation, and they just click accept, and then they show up on the roster. You can add up to 500 email addresses. So again, you'll want to be in here a lot, especially as you're recruiting people. Let me wait for it to load. So in addition to you inviting people, depending on how you set up your organization, if it's a public organization or more private, like some of y'all have processes to that people have to go through in order to become a member. Others are like, everyone's a member, whoever joins us can join us, kind of thing, depending on how you have it set up. But if your group is open, then you might get people coming into TrueBlue Connects asking to join. So that's where it would come under these. Sorry, I feel like my internet's going so slow today. Okay, that's going to be under this perspective section. So that means maybe Meredith saw ASNAU and was like, I want to be a part of that. And then Meredith can go like, add me. And then Maria can come in and put approve that this person, yes, we want them to join because we're an open organization. It might be good for Maria to then reach out to Tate or to this person and say, hey, here's when our meetings are. Like, come on by. We'd love for you to join. As many people as you might meet at Club Fair in person, not everyone's able to come to that. So they're going to come to TrueBlue Connects to look for organizations, and it's set up to where they can add organizations that interest them. So you following up would be really helpful. The pending section is for those invitations that we sent out. So that means Maria came in, sent an invitation at some point to Abigail Hanlong. So that means it's in Abigail's inbox to accept the invitation or not. And that's why she's sitting here. So that's why she's not on the roster, because she hasn't accepted her invitation. But if she can always go in and resend it too, if she needs to, or do what she needs to do from here. Okay, so lastly with the roster is giving people access to things. So generally the president, whoever's listed as president on your roster, is going to have access to everything. But you may have other positions that you want to have specific access to certain things. So that's where the president can come up here to manage positions. And this is where you can go through each position to determine what they have access to. So let's say the diversity coordinator position. So we have it set up right now where the diversity coordinator doesn't need to have access to everything, but they need access to a few things. So we've clicked on limited access, and then we've identified what they would have access to in TrueBlue Connect. So full event access, that means they can submit an event, they can keep track of events, they are all up in events in TrueBlue. But it looks like we don't have them set up on anything else, and that's okay. That's what works for this organization. So for this one, it was just events that they wanted access to. Perhaps you have somebody who's in charge of recruitment. Then it would probably be good that they have full access to the roster so they can help maintain the roster, or someone who's in charge of those service hours. Again, it'd probably be good that they have full access to service hours in that area. So the president gets to determine who all has access to what on the organization's roster. And then finally with the roster, as this comes up, oh, and then it's generally you can always add position titles. Again, there's some standard position titles, but that doesn't mean it's standard for you. Your organization is each organization is so unique, so you may have a different title for certain positions, so you can always add them right here. Okay, and then I'm just going to okay, so finally your primary contact. So this is the other big thing that we want to make sure is updated on your roster. So even though Maria is listed as president on the roster, which I can just, show you, but maybe Maria doesn't make sense to be the president or also the primary contact. Maybe it's somebody else. And generally it is the president, but it doesn't have to be. So that's where you just click up here and click that little edit button and you go find who you want the primary contact to be. And generally that's who I'm looking for. If I'm looking for, sometimes groups reach out or students reach out and say like, who can I email about joining the karaoke club? And I'm like, oh, you can email this email right here. And I give them that. Or sometimes when we do our mass emails, we email it to the primary contact, sometimes to the president too, but keeping that updated is key. And again, so last year, our president was Brendan. Brendan's not on here anymore. Brendan graduated. He is no longer doing this organization, so he shouldn't be on the roster anymore. So I would really encourage y'all, as a great action item for today, to go in and kick people out who are no longer part of your orgs, because they're gone, they graduated, there's new leadership. So keeping this updated is really, really key. And again, if you don't recognize a name, that's probably who's on your roster, that's probably a good indicator that they maybe aren't showing or that they graduated. Okay, other things to do with your club. So you'll notice I'm in the roster, but you'll also have this menu on the side of your, when you are logged in. So I see the ASNAU logo, so I'm just going to click on this. And this is my little menu of options. I'm not going to go through all of these, but I'm going to highlight a few. So we went over roster. I'm going to save events for the end. Let's go over service hours. So again, this isn't for every organization, but a very helpful tool for you all to individually track your service hours and to, as an organization, to track your service hours. So this is what it looks like. And all you have to do is click here to add service hours, and then you'll go in and just fill out a quick little thing saying what you did and how much time you spent doing it. So if your club went and did a street cleanup for 2 hours, awesome. Go have all the members add those hours. And then that's a great story to share, and for us to share with admin at the university that, the Kayettes Club contributed 600 hours of community service and Flagstaff. We get asked that all the time. So being able to pull that through True Blue Connects is really helpful. But also that's great stuff for your individual resumes, for your future Gold Axe applications for our graduating seniors, to be able to say, like, I did this many hours, but I also manage a club that did this many hours of service. So that all you have to do is go there. Then let's do events. Oh, I just saw a great question from Ashwarya in the chat. So I'll answer that really fast first. Okay, to send a message to everyone in the club. So you can, of course, I know some people set up like group me's and stuff like that, but that all comes from the roster. So if you wanted to email everybody or send them all a message, you could just export your roster. And that's going to download an Excel sheet, and then you'll get their contact information and everything right there. Great question. But also what's nice is if you just wanted Abigail's contact, you can click on it and it'll bring up her contact right here. Okay, going back to events. So a huge change like that we have to announce, and we're going to say this probably so many times. The new way, the new standard for submitting events, meetings, tabling, anything like that through True Blue, where you need space, is we need it 10 days prior. So it used to be 5, it used to be 7, and now it's 10. And this is really a testament to you all and all you are doing. My first year here, we were at 5 days, but I was reviewing 2,000 events each year. Last year, our office reviewed 7,000 events, and we're a tiny team, and that's a lot. And you all are doing so much stuff, which is amazing. But because of that, not only our team, but the campus events team, they just need more capacity to get your events approved and get you the space that you need. So the new number of days that we need is 10 days prior to your event or your meeting. You have to submit your True Blue Connects form. So that's a huge shift from last year. But moving forward, if it's not 10 days, we are denying it. And we want to be able to say yes to you all, but when you have it times 7,000 events, it's a lot for our inbox. We do a lot of other stuff besides we manage the clubs, but we do a lot of other stuff too. So 10 days, we're not even going to go into business days because I know many of y'all, we don't use those terms anymore. So it's just 10 days that includes the weekend that we need those submitted. So what do you submit? You submit everything. So not only does this allow us to share again with the vice presidents, with the administration, that you all are planning 7,000 amazing things each academic year and getting to highlight you all, which we do a lot of. We brag about you all the time. And so not only does it allow us to do that, it also allows us to share, that this organization just is bringing this speaker to campus, and that's awesome. And so we can help market it, but again, sharing up with administration to where we can get you more support. But it also, we're looking for helping to assess risk for an event. We're also, and then of course it initiates the help in finding space on campus. So basically every meeting, every event should be submitted in True Blue Connects 10 days prior. That is on campus, that's off campus, that's in person, that's virtual. When in doubt, fill it out is what I always say. So just fill out the form. We always get emails, and I'm always like, your first step is to fill out a True Blue Connects form. It initiates things for us, but then we work very heavily with the campus events department, and they're the ones who actually book your space. So that's how they process things, not through an email, not through coming by their office. They need it in this form. So all you do is create an event, and it's one form for all those things. So one form for events, one form for a meeting, for tabling, etc. Okay, so I won't fill out the whole thing, but I'm going to highlight a few things. So your event title, sometimes, most of the times your events are public. So you want to make sure the title is interesting to where people want to be a part of it. So you'll just fill this out, your theme, whatever is closest. Let's see, we are giving back. Oh, that's horrible. Don't make your description look like that. You can co-host. So I know some of our organizations co-host together. So let's say ASNAU and Karaoke Club are going to do an event together. You can tag them. You can add the Karaoke Club in here, so then it shows up on both profiles. Then I'm going to add my dates. And again, it has to be 10 days out. So I'm going to do the 24th, let's say. But let's say I'm also going to host it on the 25th. So this would be good to know for your weekly meetings or your multi-day week meetings. You want to add another date in here. So generally that's probably not for a single event, but when you're hosting a meeting multiple times throughout the semester, you can add in all of your dates in here so that it all shows up in one. Okay, so then I'm going to click on location. I'm going to add the location information that I want. And then, or if there's an online location too, I can add that, the Zoom link. Event visibility, that's again for if this is just for the membership of your organization, you would want to make that private, organization members only. If you want it to be shared with others, you would make this however you want it. Okay, I'm going to click next. Oops, there we go. Okay. Do we need to fill this out if we are tabling for Club Fair? Great question. No, so you are already signed up for Club Fair. And that counts as doing this. So you do not need to fill out a separate True Blue Connects form for, oh, there we go. That's why I'm messing up. for club fair, especially since we are hosting club fair. Let's say you were tabling on your own, though. Yes, you would definitely fill it out. I'm going to fill this out really quick so we can keep going. I have to do it each time. Okay, well, you all get the hint. I'm just going to put numbers in here so I can keep going through the form. Okay, and then the next question was, if co-hosting an event, do both orgs need to make the event? Meredith, yes. If co-hosting, both orgs would do that. And that's just allows for, again, that tracking on our back end of what all orgs are doing what. So yes, both orgs would fill it out. Do we need to fill this form out for fundraisers, Katrina? Yes. So again, when in doubt, fill it out. We fill it out for all events, meetings, on campus, off campus, etc. You fill out the form. We're not going to be calling up Panda Express to confirm that your organization is doing that. But what it does allow us to do is, again, it allows us to track how much our clubs are doing. It allows us to then our team is going to go to Panda Express and go support you. And but then also allows you to have a full picture of what all your club is doing. So yes, you would fill that out for fundraisers, for a car wash off campus. If you're volunteering at the Humane Society, you would still fill it out. Off-campus events are still 10 days, but we get those approved really, really fast, which is nice. Okay, so then the form, you're just going to keep filling out the form. I'm not going to go through every single thing, but you'll just keep going. This is if you wanted feedback on the event. I'm going to keep going. Okay. Anywho, oh yeah. So then the form will walk through. Oh, I don't want. Okay. The form will also walk through your location preferences, your risk plan. So say you were going to go, I'm just going to add a random photo. Say you were going to go hiking, then it's going to ask you, what are some physical limitations potentially? So thinking through how do you make sure that all of your members have access to this event, this hiking event? Or we might ask questions as well that might pose like, what are your plans to make sure people have water? Or sunscreen or those types of things. You would fill this out for. Okay, then I'm going to continue to custom fields. You got to do that part. And then I'm going to fill all of this out based on my club. So again, I'm going to roll through here so I can highlight a few things. What are you submitting for? Weekly or recurring meetings. This is an event, so you could see the other things that this form covers. And I'm going to hit next. Okay. A few other questions that came up in the chat. If our club is part of a class, do we need to fill out the form for scheduled weekly class meetings? Lindsay, if it's part of, I'm not sure what club that is, but if you're meeting and it's a class, then no, your meeting is part of the academic calendar, I guess you could say, the academic, what's the word, schedule of classes. So I think you're golden. If you're fundraising, does that count towards your 4 hours allowed a week, or is that only for meetings? Great, thank you, Salvador. The 4 hours is for room reservations that are on campus. So if you're fundraising at Panda Express, that does not count towards your 4 hours. And what they mean by that is every club has access to free 4 hours worth of on-campus space per week. So once it goes beyond that 4 hours, that's where clubs can get charged for space on campus. And then do we need to fill out the form for every weekly meeting? Yes. So all of those go through the form. Okay, so going back to their questions, is your org a member of CPC, IFC, UGC? So if you are part of fraternity and sorority life, you are going to click yes here, but if you're not, then you just click no. And the reason we do that is there's just an additional approver for the Greek community. And that question prompts them to come in. Same with the sport clubs. So if you are a registered sport club, clicking yes means we bring in an additional approver for your meeting or your event. So you'd click yes, but otherwise you click no. And then is it on campus, off campus, or virtual? So again, I won't read through all of these. I know I keep saying that, but you can see they're pretty simple questions, but we need you to answer all of them. So that way it prompts us to have an understanding of the event, what needs to be booked. If you have 5 members, but you want a huge space, then we're going to be like, why do you need a huge space? If you have 5 members, can't we do a smaller space? So there's just a lot of details that we want to make sure we're covering when in the form. So it is a pretty lengthy form. I am going to show you on our end what we see when you do submit. Okay. So let's do Tri-Delt's new member meeting. So this is what we see on our end. So as soon as Tri-Delt submitted this, we got an email saying you need to review this, and our office reviews it first. We are very fast in our review, and usually within 24 hours. And we're looking for a variety of things. But I can see that this is you can see that they did a great job of selecting all of their fall meeting or their new member meetings. So they selected multiples. They've got all of their location in here. And then in here, I won't go through it all, but they've got all the details of their event or their meetings. So if everything looks good, I'm going to come in here and give it a thumbs up. I'm not going to fully approve it because our office only does thumbs up. Then, because it's a Greek organization, that means Kaden or Marissa are going to come in and also review it. So, or Meredith, or Elise. So they're going to come in and also review it. So they're going to give it the thumbs up. Then the final step is campus events. So they're the ones that are actually going to go in and book Aspen AB or SBS Castro. So our office does not do anything with getting you a room. We just move the form along to the people who do get you the room. So that is the campus events office who actually book the space for you and give that final approval. But let's say something's wrong. So let's say Sunday, September 10th is not available for this time. What we're going to do is comment on the event. So we might write in here, the September 10th date is unavailable. Where would you like to go instead? And then if I post this, it's going to send an email to Emmy Smith, and say you have a comment on your submission. So Emmy needs to go in now and tell me what to do. Otherwise, this is just going to stay put and it's not going to do anything until I hear back from Emmy Smith. And this is where a lot of orgs get held up because we comment and then there's not a response, and we need the response in order to continue through approving the event. So Emmy, we would be sitting and waiting for her to respond. Once Emmy does and we get the information we need, we're like, perfect, it's booked, and then final approval is done. But until we get that, it's going to sit there. And so sometimes we get calls from orgs and we're like, the very first thing we do is we see who all has reviewed it and given it a thumbs up. And then we look at the comments and we're like, oh, we're waiting on this from whoever submitted the event from your club. And yeah, but otherwise we'll look to approve it or get a full approval. And then you should be good to go. Beyond that, sometimes you all are booking spaces that are in academic buildings, and generally we will always put, it's like the club needs to work on getting access to this space. So even though we can reserve it, you might need to get in touch with the building manager if it's on a Saturday to get a key to the space or that kind of thing. So we'll put that in the comments usually as well. So that way you have access to the space on weekends as well. Salvador, am I missing anything for events?
You have a great question in the chat box saying how to cancel an event request.
Oh, good question. So my view is again a little bit different. Let me see if I can see it from this end. Okay, so I'm just in a different organization that I'm a part of again since I'm an admin, my view is just a little wonky, but here we go. So all I did was go to my if you went over here to the side panel and went to that wheel and I went to events. So here's listed out the events that I have coming up right now. So all I would do is these three dots or you can I'm sorry, you don't even, there we go. Okay, ignore the three dots. I'm so sorry. You're just going to click on the event here. And then here it is. So cancel event is right there. Or change the details of the event is also right there. So all of that is just in your events portal to where if you need to do any of that. Something that I just thought of though is we had a lot of crazy snow last semester. And so just note that if if the university is closed, that means we can't host events or have meetings. And we'll try to always post that on our Teams channel. But that means restarting the process. So if you had an event for Wednesday was like the big night last year. I swear is every Wednesday or all these Wednesdays we had to cancel so many org things because of snow. And so that means if you want to have your event again, you'd have to resubmit and get everything going again because it's possible, and we can't just move your event to the next week because it's possible that your space is reserved by another group the following week. So just note that snow, we will always let you know, but generally if the institution is closed, then no events or meetings are happening. Okay, so how do we cancel an event? We answered that. Is there an area we can go to see the building manager's contact info? That's usually on individual academic websites. They have that information. I'm not aware of a full view of who all the building managers are, but if you go to their individual website for the College of Ed or that kind of thing, their information is up there. Okay. I think I got everything for True Blue, unless there's any other lingering questions. Great questions in the chat. I know it's kind of a lot. There's a really helpful link, which I'll share in the chat right now too, that I love. And this link, it goes to the organization that we buy access to True Blue Connects through. And it's really kind of like a portal for if you have questions. So of course we're here to help too. But if you're like me, you can go there and type in anything. And so you can type in roster and there's all these help articles and help videos to help you with your roster or create an event. There's all articles and videos to help you with that as well. So I love that website if you need help there at all. Okay. And then Evelyn, I see your question. I'll respond to it because that's just totally separate in many ways since you're not on the Flagstaff campus. Yeah, well, that is True Blue Connects in a nutshell. So just a reminder, 10 days are needed to submit events, updating your roster, and then making sure that your events are and meetings that you're responding in that discussion so we can get things approved for you. But yeah, if there's no more questions, then I think we're moving into our break.
Sorry, Michelle, really quickly, I think Gabriel made a question about what happens if they are still in the request stage through and have not been approved yet, and we realize that the time won't work anymore or something came up. So that's a great question, and that's why we are critically asking you all to utilize the comment section in your event request form, because you can comment sections there. You can always edit the request, but you could always, you can edit the request. But you could make a comment and say this won't work anymore, or is there any updates about this approval request for this event, and so on and so forth. That way we could follow up with either maybe we missed it for some reason, which I really doubt it, but something happened and we haven't things fall off the crack. Then utilizing that comment, we'll send an automatic populated email to our email accounts. And that's when we're gonna notice it, then go back to it and we'll follow up with what's happening with your event requests. So please utilize the comment section in those. Those are really helpful. And don't forget to review them because we do comment a lot on them as well.
Awesome. And then I'll just reiterate that orgs get 4 hours worth of free event space on or meeting space on campus. If it goes beyond that, right now the model is that orgs do get charged. That we're not a big, we are here to advocate for y'all. So we are working on a few initiatives to where that's where we can help with that. Nothing official we can announce yet, but just note that we're doing everything we can to where to help you all in terms of getting not having to pay for those rooms. But at this moment, you still have to. But more as soon as we have an announcement about that, we'll let you know. But yes, outside of those 4 hours, orgs do get charged. And that's 4 hours throughout the week. Generally, some academic buildings might have their own rules, but generally with the union spaces and it would be 4 hours throughout the week. And then separately, campus rec space does have some separate charges. So like the South Fields and that kind of thing, they might have charges, but you'll know that ahead of time before you book a space. Okay, feeling good? All right, we are gonna go ahead and take a break. What time should they be back, Salvador?
They should be back by 10:40, please. Sorry, 11:40.
Perfect, 11:40, so 11 minutes. So feel free to go do your thing and we'll see you back here shortly. Perfect. All right, Salvador, do you want to answer that question in the chat that came through?
Yes, I can. Thank you. So as you all know, you were given this specific mandatory required meeting schedule for every single officer. And as we mentioned, we did want every single officer club to have the president and the VP, the president and treasurer. So the president needs to attend these monthly meetings in addition to whoever other officer you want them to attend. We realize that there's some individuals that do have class during that time, and that's fine. That means that you will think of finding a different alternative. So maybe your BP and another officer might attend. So a BP and a treasurer. If for some reason the BP can attend, then the treasurer and the secretary might attend these monthly meetings. So you need to figure out who of your officers is able to, is able to attend these meetings. So make sure you coordinate with your club, your officers, everybody else, because we need to make sure that at least 2 members are attending each monthly meeting. If for some reason, because I know there's certain clubs too that are very, very limited when it comes to officers, meaning that maybe your club is just starting and you have only 2 officers and both of you have class on 10 a.m. for some reason, then that's when you could, as a precedent, solidify 2 regular members to attend these trainings, this monthly meetings, but you need to make sure you select these individuals to be your trusted individuals to share all that communication. And we're only making that exception to specific clubs that have very low club members / officers titles. So just keep that in mind. But I hope that answers your question.
Awesome. Okay, we have a little less than an hour to go, and we have plenty of other topics to get into. So we are gonna dabble across a few topics, and just a reminder, feel free to throw your stuff in the chat. A lot of y'all are asking great questions privately to me in Salvador, so we would encourage you to share those broadly, because I guarantee with 400 orgs of y'all, others have that same question. So no, you know, only if you want to, but you have great questions. So okay, really quick, I'm just gonna brush over ticketed events. So some of you all utilize ticketing because you want to bring in funds for your organization. If your event is on campus, ticketing must go through the central ticketing office on campus. So we are contracted to where that is a requirement. It's kind of like Sodexo, where we have to, if it's on campus, we have to utilize Sodexo unless there's a waiver involved. But generally ticketing has to go through central ticketing office. So utilizing Venmo for people to get tickets is a no-go, unfortunately. So if you have ticketing in your True Blue Connects event, that's what we're gonna work with y'all and either help get you set up to do a ticketed event through CTO or to connect you with them. But their website's right on there on the screen. I know there's not too many of y'all who do that, but that's if it's paid ticketing. So if it's unpaid and you just want to get an RSVP list, you can already do that through your event submission in True Blue Connects. You don't have to go through CTL, but if you're charging people, it has to go through central ticketing. Okay.
Hi, that's my turn. Do you want me to share my screen, Michelle, or you want to continue sharing it?
If you want me to keep it up here, I'm good, unless you wanted to change the screen.
No, you're totally good. Perfect. All right, catering and food waiver. So we discussed this, and these policies and procedures are listed in the manual, but we just wanted to break it up a little bit more for you. So catering and food waiver, all clubs are required to go through NU catering food services. That is a must. So again, you are required to submit a catering order. All of you have access to create a catering account. So you'll be able to access that by going to nu.edu/dining/catering, and you'll be able to select specific resources. Actually, what's I going to say? Michelle, can you let me share my screen? Because I was going to share something else too. Thank you. All right. I just want to show you all, so, and I'll show you exactly where the actual waiver is, but Just wanted to show you that as a similar to your event request, we do ask you to complete your catering request 10 days prior to the event. Remember that your specific event, it's amazing and family, and most of you do have specific food happening or being offered at your event. But do remember that catering gets pretty busy, especially by the end of the semester. When the semester everybody has everybody has events happening, ceremonies, graduation. So please keep in mind that when you have an event and you're looking for food, you do not have to request as soon as possible. You could order online, and catering does offer you a vegan, vegetarian, halal, and kosher without any kosher, without a kosher kitchen. So just keep that in mind. Flavors is more of an elevated food option. Simple to go are catering boxes, and Elements is everyday catering, and that's to be most affordable for every specific club and org. Sorry, I can't talk. And then the food waiver is only apply if and only if items can be provided by Sodexo, cannot be provided by Sodexo. So if for some reason Sodexo cannot do donuts, right? That's a comment, for example, cannot do donuts. Then that's when Sodexo will be like, sorry, we can't do donuts. Then that means that you have to complete a food waiver to purchase those donuts from Bash's or for fries or from Dunkin' Donuts, whatever it is, right? You cannot purchase the food that you want to purchase without actually getting your food waiver approved. So keep that in mind. If for some reason you don't complete a food waiver and you do provide food from another vendor that is not Sodexo and it wasn't approved by the specific office, then your club can run the risk of being frozen, and other specific conduct policies will be implemented too. Do keep in mind that a lot of you don't utilize this resource, so please utilize as much as possible. Sodexo Programming Fund. So an organization has an outstanding opportunity to get up to $500 per academic year, $250 per semester of food wave / fund. So let's say, for example, you have a meeting, and this meeting, because it's the end of the year meeting, you want to provide brownies and cookies and some coffee. Well, that's great, but you don't have funds, so you ran out of funds already, and you haven't utilized the Sodexo Programming Fund. That is an amazing tool for you to utilize. So please make sure you utilize it. And you can find more information on our website as well, and the next website. But please, sometimes people utilize their up to $500, and then sometimes Sodexo has extra money for you to utilize too. Maybe they extended to $700 because nobody else has used it and they want to spend this money and help you all out. So don't forget about this amazing resource. And they wanted to show you the actual website. So there's the actual website for catering. In here, you could just go to neu.edu/dining/catering, and there's the main website. This is the link, the hyperlink text where you could find the food waiver. Okay. And this is where you could actually go in here and submit your catering order. If you haven't created a catering order profile then for your specific organization, then I definitely encourage you to create one. It's super simple, super easy, and for you to sign up. And this is where the options are. Remember that flavor is simply to go, and Elements, which is a cheaper version, but still pretty good option for you. So this resource is available to you at any time, but remember that you have to submit that 10 days prior to your event, if not earlier, please. Any questions about catering? I know some of you asked if you could actually have candy during your club fair, which you can, only if and only if you submitted a food waiver and got approved by catering / campus events. So if not, then you cannot pass out candy at all. Okay. And we would definitely take it away from you as we do our rounds in club fair. And we don't want to do that, please. Okay. The next part that I want to talk to you all about is club travel. As we discussed, a lot of you actually like to travel as a group, as an officer, for different reasons. Maybe you have a competition in Mexico. Maybe you have an officer retreat in Oregon. Whatever it is, you are required to still submit a event request, even though it's going to be off campus. And similar to the process that Michelle showcased you, you go to TrueBlue Connect, submit an event request, and this time, instead of selecting on campus, you're going to select off campus, okay? And they will provide you with more information, ask you for maybe 1 or 2 extra details here and there, and amazing. Do keep in mind that you do have to complete these processes too, right as soon as you finish submitting your event request in TrueBlue Connects, then you will go into and submit an annual travel certification request. And this request is just for every single member who is actually planning to travel. This should be hyperlinked also in the manual. And you will complete the annual travel certification form, where you just complete a form that specifies that you are traveling as a club member / student, and you're affiliated with NAU. Okay, it's as simple as that. You click 3 things and you hit submit. That's your first step. Can you still see my screen? Okay, perfect. Then you will have to submit a travel support case. And this is a must, no exception. That's just telling, this is another method that you're going to tell the university that you're traveling as an individual or as a group. Okay. You'll have to specify the travel, type of travel, so your student club activity, that direct report supervisor, that's going to be your club advisor, the department authorized level. So who's actually approving this specific event? If you're a regular club, you will select Dean of Students. If you're a sports club, you will select Campus Rec. If you're ASNAU, you will select ASNAU, and all that great stuff. So I think I could go in here and show you very quickly. Can you see my Employee Service Center page? Okay, perfect. I would just hit travel. And I will click on travel support. Yes, it does take a little bit to pull out the form, so just be patient. And in here, you will actually complete every single information that is required, aka that has a little asterisk into it. Who are you submitting this? Are you submitting this for yourself because you're the only one traveling on behalf of your club, or you're submitting that as a group, right? So depending on how your travel is. Anticipated departure, all that great stuff, trip destination, type of travel, all this information needs to be submitted. It needs to be accurate. Submit important information like your itinerary, all that great stuff. Once you submit your actual case, right? You submit it, amazing, you're not done. You are gonna get a case number, and that case number needs to be copy and paste into your event request form in TrueBlue Connects. And in TrueBlue Connects, we're gonna ask you more questions too. What is your emergency plan? How are you gonna get there? Are you feeding your club members, or they're responsible for feeding themselves? Do you have access to water? Because if you know, we need water to live, obviously. So all these questions, and we do need every single question to be answered. So just keep that in mind when it comes to requesting this information. Again, I'll up all documents to the case manager. The case number starts with a letter. Usually it starts with an HO or H0, HI. So that is your case number that we need you to copy and paste as you respond also to our questions that we posted in your event request form. We don't need you to upload any documents unless being asked in your TrueBlue Connects request. We only need you to update all those documents in your travel request form, the one that I just showcased you previously. A lot of you have already also submitted event requests to go out and travel off campus, which is amazing. Some of you have already gotten approved, which is amazing. Others have not gotten approved because you're still pending to answer a lot of the questions that I listed for you. And I'll follow up through a comment. So please, 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 if you have submitted those already and you haven't heard back, that's because I'm waiting for your responses. We cannot approve until you respond to those questions. And we'll definitely deny it if the event is getting closer and we haven't approved. And remember that you cannot travel without our approval requests, without your approval request being approved. And something I forgot to mention, if you're traveling off campus, let's say, for example, to Lake Mary or the lava tubes, you don't have to complete a travel support. It's only if you actually travel for 50 miles or longer outside of the Camp Flagstaff Mountain campus. But you do have to complete the annual travel certification form because you're still traveling. So you only have to complete the travel support case if you're traveling 50 miles or more. Okay. Super simple, super easy. Once you come back, remember that once you come back from your trip and you have all your receipts, all of your specific final itineraries, all the great stuff, you do have to go back to that case and resubmit all those documents, all that information into the actual case itself. So that way it could finally be closed. So just remember that too as well. Don't let it be open. Please make sure that you submit everything so that way our case manager who works with these specific cases is able to actually follow through, close them, and move on to the next one. So please keep that in mind. Now that's club travel. And then now my last part. You're good? Perfect. Perfect. Okay. Now we're going to talk about teams / communication. Yay. So moving forward, this upcoming fall, we're going to be very busy, and we're always busy. And we understand that you are also very busy as students, as club officers, and our members. So please keep in mind that we're trying our best to reply to you as soon as possible. We literally, our inboxes, our teams are blowing up because we're currently in this meeting, and a lot of you are emailing us, sending chats, which is amazing, right? But we're currently focusing all of our attention on this meeting. But moving forward, we want to make sure that there's no miscommunication, misunderstanding, nothing like that, to make sure that everything is making sense for all of you, and that everything is working out. So that way you could find a response and answer as soon as possible, and you're not getting missed by one of our team members. So moving forward, your primary method of communication will be Microsoft Teams. And I'll talk a little bit more about how to utilize Teams in the next, after I finish with the slide. So first and foremost, general channel will be only for announcements and reminders from L&E staff only. Okay, so only from Meredith, from Elise, from Kaden, from Michelle, from Nancy, from myself. You're more than welcome to reply to those posts if you have questions, like I previously mentioned in the post. If for some reason the club list doesn't look good for you, please reply to this post, right? And you can reply on that, but you cannot create a post in the general channel. There's also subgroup channels. They're all contain specific resources for you to utilize moving forward at any time. They're accessible to you, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. So that's our primary method of communication to make sure that you follow our expectations, our deadlines, that great stuff. For example, we send you all the link to Club Fair through this channel, and everybody who was active, a student club at org should have been active, should have only been able to register. Now other clubs that have been active, so I don't know how that link got somewhere, but either way, long story short, that's our primary method. Our second method will be email. So that's our secondary one. And this is basically when we have more of a specific questions for your club and org. So something about your bank account, something about an issue that you have with one member, right? We don't want to make that public. And we definitely don't want you to put that type of comment or question in Teams because everybody has access to them. So that's when you definitely want to email general student orgs at NAU.edu. Michelle has all the questions, but unfortunately she'll be in sabbatical in the fall, so don't email her. Just in the fall. After that, she'll be back in the spring. For FSL, that's going to be Marissa and Kaden. More information to come on his email. Kaden, I don't know if you want to put your email on the chat. And then obviously Elise will be in FSL. Then myself will be clubs and orgs and leadership programs with the support of Meredith. And then Nancy will be the individual to get a hold of when it comes to Get Involved program. So this is your secondary methods of communication. And then we do have our social media platforms where you find a lot of announcements and reminders about them too as well. So that any of you get involved. I know that a lot of you used to follow our previous old student student orgs and clubs Instagram account that is no longer active. So stop following that, please, and just follow any you get involved. You could also follow NEU Greeks and then Nuestra NEU. Those are three at this moment current social media platforms that you could find information about. So again, moving forward, these will be our specific 3 lines of communication. And I'm going to show you a little bit more about what Teams really has for you. So, okay. Can you all see my Teams at the moment? Hey, awesome. So welcome to Microsoft Teams. If this is your first time, which I hope it's not, if this is the first time to see Microsoft Teams, well, welcome. It's a really great tool that you all can utilize moving forward, not just for this specific reason as a club officer or member, but as a student as well. You could create your own specific teams with your officers, right? You create some things for a class. I know I have that and I have a lot more teams, right? But you could create it for whatever needs you are required for. Academic, personal, related to your club, all that great stuff. So as I mentioned, the general channel is only for pro staff from the LNE teams to actually reply, to post, sorry, but then you're more than welcome to reply to our post and ask those questions. So this is a really great example when I send a reminder, vital reminders, and people were replying or asking questions. And this is a great example where people can just reply and we try to respond to your question as soon as possible. And you'll notice that we're always going to tag everybody so that way everybody's aware of what we post. TrueBlue Connects is channel number 1. And in here, if you have any questions about TrueBlue Connects in general, you're more than welcome to actually create a new conversation and create the question here. Again, questions are just broad and that will apply for every single club, org, or chapter. You'll find there's different tabs here for every single channel. And if you click on files, you'll find different documents that will be very, very beneficial for you. So you'll see our sole requirement PDF document. You'll see a document about how to TrueBlue Connects basics on how to actually utilize TrueBlue Connects in case you forgot after this meeting, right? So there's documents in every single channel. And if there's none at the moment, there will be soon. There's one particularly for board members, specific information that only board members should actually be aware about. There's already documents here. Transition checklist, look at this. We plan ahead. Concession flyers, all that great stuff. And we'll notify you once a new document is added for you to have access to them and just review it whenever you have a chance. We have a channel for your specific advisors / coaches. Again, they could also ask a very broad question, we'll answer it. But if again, it's very specifically, the question is specifically just for the club itself, and that's when an email situation will come in handy. Files, there's files for your advisors and trainings. The trainings that you will see here, for example, this recording will hopefully be here once we finish, and link to the actual quiz. And you won't see these 2 specific channels because these are private channels that we have. Do not please, and you shouldn't be able to, but for some reason you can, do not create private channels whatsoever in this specific organization. You cannot and you shouldn't request private channels. This is why it's a great reason for you to create your own teams and maybe create your own teams for whatever purpose you are in need of. But do not create any private channel. This is our specific office for us to manage every type of communication with all of you. If for some reason you said, I've been getting a lot of messages saying that my team members never got added to this Microsoft Teams. Why wasn't I added? If you all remember back into completing your SOAR, your re-registration, there was a question at the very end that said, please list the members that you want to have in our Microsoft Teams. And we suggested that at least the president and somebody else, either a secretary, a VP, a treasurer, whoever you wanted to be added. Whoever submitted that SOAR, maybe it was your former president, maybe it was your previous treasurer, whoever, they listed certain names, right? So if your name wasn't listed there, right, or a specific member that you wanted wasn't listed, and that's why they were not added. But that is no big deal because we could definitely add them too. So you should be able to, if you go into the $3 line here and oopsies, and click manage team, you should be able to add a member. They will not be added automatically. They would just be added as a, and they would show as a pending request for us. Then we either decline or deny that request. We are going through a trust method that if you're asking for us to add a specific individual, we're assuming that this is a member from your club / an officer or an active responsible member that needs to be up to date with all this information. Please do not add anybody that it does not have an NAU ID because it won't let you. If you want somebody, like say, for example, a coach to be added, then you would just have to email studentorgs@nau.edu and we'll do that on our end if they don't have an NAU ID email, sorry. But other than that, that's how you will be able to add. If for some reason, Sally was added on behalf of NAU board game club, right? But we want Sam, but Sally doesn't want to be in teams anymore, right? Then they could actually leave the team themselves. But please make sure that Sally is not leaving without knowing that Sam is actually going to take their spot in teams, right? It's not going to be our, it will be your responsibility to make sure that anybody who's in teams is responsible to share that information with you. Anything that's posted, deadlines, we're going to be a little bit more strict with this. We're being strict with our specific club fair, right? Everybody who got access to teams should have been able to register their club for club fair, and we closed it July 31st. This is just an example. And then now people are requesting to be added, and unfortunately that was a deadline. So you need to follow up with those individuals that were invited to teams to make sure that they're double check that they still want to be part of teams. If not, they could leave the teams, but then you will request them to add somebody else to represent your club and or chapter. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah, so we have some good questions. So can we have more than 2 people from our club on teams?
That's a good question. Yes, you can, but I will ask you all to restrict yourselves for not more than 2, if possible, just because we want to make sure, one, we're trying to streamline that only people who really need to be here are in here, not just a random member and so on and so forth. So yes, you can, but just try to restrict yourself to 2. Please.
The next one was just if we need to update the contact. So maybe somebody was in teams, but they shouldn't be anymore. How would they go about that?
That's a great thing. Then please email studentorgs@nau.edu so that way I could go in, remove that member and add the other member. When you do that and you email student orgs, please tell your new member to keep an eye on their email because they will get a notification via email saying, hey, you've been added to this teams, please hit accept. A lot of people haven't done that, and that's why they just barely got access to teams. So make sure you do that too. Am I missing amount of time? Yeah, okay, perfect. So just an FYI, but yes, great questions. Any others? Did you catch them all? I do want to show you too that you have the chats option. So these are just chat options that you have. Instead of, if for some reason you want to communicate with your teams, every single individual here at NAU, whether you're a student, faculty, or staff, or graduate assistant, you have access to teams, right? And you want to have, in addition to your specific teams that you create maybe for your club or for your class, and you want to create, and you know that your other individuals that you want to get a hold of do also have teams, you could create your own chat and have that happen. You could type in anybody. So let's say Michelle, Meredith, and that's it, right? And you could say, hello, next meeting this Wednesday. You could rename this chat because you're the one that created it. Whatever you want to name it as. And you could add more individuals to the specific chat by going to the top right corner and adding more people. When you add more people, you're more than welcome to either just include the chat don't include the chat history, include it to how many days before, or include the chat history that was from previous months, years, whatever it is. So you have the option to see, to have people see whatever you posted at a certain period of time and on. So that's one option that you have access to. So chats are really, really great. Oh, thank you, Meredith. Something that I do encourage you all to is to also, when you're in your teams, to please figure out exactly and change your channel notifications. So if you go into Teams, right, whatever channel you go into, I will encourage you all, please do this, to change your preference and how you get notified. So I just click on the general and I click on the three little dotted line on the top right corner and click on channel notifications. And I have all activity, post receipts and mentions. I will get a notification on my desktop. And if I don't see it in an hour or two, I can't remember what I have it set as, then I'll get an email notifying me too. So that way you're not missing any specific announcements at all. Do not click off. Please do not click off, because then you're gonna miss everything, and that's when you're gonna get upset of yourself or at your other club member that didn't catch all those announcements. It's also good for you if you want to chat with us. So you can always chat, send us a private chat through the chat option, through to Michelle, to Meredith, to myself. That's another option. We will most likely definitely answer, but I think that's basically it. We'll utilize this moving forward as much as possible. Well, not as much as possible every single day. So please keep an eye on that. We'll notify you about our monthly meetings, our trainings, more resources, opportunities. For example, homecoming, I know homecoming is until October, but we're gonna notify you all about how to be part of homecoming. And we'll put that on general channel and what the steps are to be part of homecoming and so on and so forth. Do please keep in mind that also when we post a post in the general channel or wherever, and we ask you to react, please react. That's making us know that you read it. And it's also an accountability option too. So please make sure you do react so that way we know that there's no missing information not going to you or anything like that. That would just really, really, really help us making sure that people are reading and understanding. And again, if things don't make sense or things are not clear, then more than welcome, you're able to reply to the post, to the original post. I think at this moment, that is all I have for you. Oh, if for some reason in your chat, something cool that you could do in your chat, I'm going to do this in the dream team. If for some reason I want to share a document in chat, I'm going to share this document, concession, with my dream team number 2. I have the power to either grant them to any document that I share with them. I have the power to grant them access to either just view the document like I did with the Club Fair list, or to edit the document. So you could just click on this drop-down menu here on the file. And in more settings, you can either click can edit or can view. And I'm gonna have them, which is a PDF, which doesn't make sense what I'm doing right now. But if it was a Word document or an Excel spreadsheet, then they will be able to edit and I would just send it over. And all the documents, information that is being shared with your specific chat team, then you'll be able to also retrieve it here in team and files option. It's super simple, super friendly, super easy for you all to manage. And it shouldn't be any problem. Again, you should be able to access it with your username and password for NAU. But other than that, is there any specific questions that I missed about Teams? Literally. Anyway.
Well, I don't think so. Okay. Last section for today. Okay, So a couple quick things that you all also have access to as clubs. So club headquarters. ASNAU provides a variety of resources for clubs upstairs. So our office is downstairs in the Dean of Students area. ASNAU's office being room 206 of the Union, which is right upstairs. Really club headquarters is a one-stop shop for you to be able to craft for things, to plan events, to get some resources. So they have a Cricut machine, they have balloon machines, they have or helium tanks, they have butcher paper, really like anything that you need to maybe make some signage, or really the options are endless, and we're always welcome. We welcome you all to share like things you need for us to offer in club headquarters. So because we can always purchase more things to provide to you all. There's also things that you might need for an event that your club doesn't necessarily want to buy, but they have them, such as walkie-talkies or sandwich boards, tables, etc. So club headquarters is available to you all to go and get some extra support or some supplies that's provided to you all. Also launching this year. So one of the big requests that I've received over the last few years has been, we need storage space on campus. And so we are in partnership with ASNAU, our office and ASNAU are launching club storage this year. We have, of course, limited space. And so it'll be a first come, first serve basis. We will upload the application for club storage after the training on Wednesday. So it'll go live Wednesday at about this time, where if you need storage space, you can access that. So we have lockers, so they're lockable, and then ASNAU will maintain the keys to that. And then we also have some bins that we keep in that storage space as well. The storage location is also upstairs near the ASNAU offices. It's where Louis' cupboard used to be. And so we've repurposed the space to be a club storage space. So that'll launch on Wednesday around this time. And then finally, our office will be managing what just started last semester. It's called the Lumberjack Lounge. Many of you might have seen it as boundaryless. So it's that space near the hotspot, between the hotspot and the point. But it's completely rebranded to be the Lumberjack Lounge. And what that means is our office, along with a couple other offices, are kind of collaborating to provide this loungy space, but also a space for you all to host events and have a free or have a space to access. That's just a little unique, I guess you could say. So you're welcome to come and hang out in there. We'll be open all day, and but so you're welcome to come hang out, have lunch, come meet us. Somebody from our team will be there most hours of the day, and but then also to get connected to these various departments. So like Wednesdays during a chunk of time, there's somebody from advising there. So if you need advising support, you can go connect with them. But then our office is generally there all day, every day, pretty much. But again, like we said, it's also a space for you to reserve. So if you wanted to host a movie night or something like that with your club, as always, you start off with True Blue Connects. So you would submit True Blue Connects. You would say you want the Lumberjack Lounge, and then we would help reserve that for you and your clubs to have any type of event. So some new resource or two new resources, one that's been existing for a while for you to access. Okay, that is all we have for today. But I want to be sure to share the link for attendance. So please feel free to keep throwing things in the chat or unmute if you have questions. I'm going to put the link to the survey in the chat right now. So that's where you'll go to show that you've been here. And again, we're looking for 2 club officers for each club that they have submitted that. And then there's just some brief questions. We'll do the same thing on Wednesday as well. So you'll just submit that, and that'll count as attendance for today, so we can make sure that your club stays active. All right, cool. Well, we will hang out for a little bit. Salvador, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Yes, sorry, for when you reserve the Lumberjacks Lounge, just know that that specific building is as is. So there's no specific additional requests like tables or chairs. It is what it is. We do have a lot of seating, so we already have extra chairs in the Lumberjacks Lounge that you could utilize. But if you are requiring extra tables, that won't be possible. So just keep that in mind if you are planning to reserve. We do have a bunch of couches though, so I think you should be fine. But yeah, that was the only comment that I wanted to share.
Yeah, definitely loungy space for sure. Okay, Kai Piper, I'm getting you added to the teams right now, just FYI in terms of your question. But yeah, but once you submit the form in True Blue, or I'm sorry, the Qualtrics form that we just put in the chat, you are good to go. We are back here on Wednesday at 10 a.m. to dive into even more things. And some of y'all were asking about your advisors. We have a time with advisors tomorrow at 10 a.m. That they would need to be at. And then we'll share the recordings for all of this after Wednesday's meeting. We'll share it on Teams and we'll share it on on our website as well. So so feel free to go do your thing if you after you submit to that Qualtrics form. And then Zach, go ahead and unmute and tell how can we help you?
Hi. So my advisor is a chemistry professor, and he's giving a final tomorrow at 10 a.m. for summer class. So I don't think he'll be able to make it. So what should I do about that?
Go for it, Salvador.
No, can you remind me of their names, Zach? I think I emailed them.
Dale Cummings.
Never mind, I didn't. Just for advisors, we're being a little bit more flexible just because a lot of them are off contract and or are teaching summers classes. So we will provide them with the recording on Tuesday, end of day. That's our goal, if not at the end of the week. So they will still be required to watch the recording by the end of the week too.
Cool. Thank you.
Awesome. Tiffany, want to unmute and how can we help you?
Yeah, I was wondering if I could also be added into the teams as well. But I'm also having issues trying to sign in even with my like NAU credentials.
Can you private message me your username, Tiffany?
Yeah.
And then if you're having any issues with actually being able to log into Microsoft, then that's when you're gonna have to contact ITS and let them know about the issue. You shouldn't really have any issues, but I don't know what's happening. But ITS will be your best person. I just added you too. So, oh, you're already a member. So if you could go to nau.edu if you could go to office.com and use your credentials, your NAU credentials, you should be able to log in perfectly fine. And then on the left side on the ribbon, you'll see a Teams icon. That's where you'll be able to not only access Teams through the browser, but also download the app in your desktop.
Oh, okay. I will go ahead and I will try that now. Thank you.
And it's office.com.
Perfect.
And advisors are on the same team channel. They've received all the same communications as y'all. And then just Salvador went over how to add members of your organization to the team. So we'll have you all manage that if you have other members that you want added to the teams besides yourself. So he went over how to do that earlier. Perfect. I think for the food waiver form, you have to include a location and the pedway self. So what location should I put for the waiver for the club fair? Oh, great question. Eliza, I would put whatever is closest. So if you just put the Union, something like that, that should be fine for your waiver. Perfect. I think we're all caught up on questions. Jackson, how can we help you?
Hi, first I wanted to say thank you for answering all my questions during this call. I think I asked like 3 times as many as the average person. But I wanted to ask because I have a couple members who not in regards to Teams for all of them, but Microsoft is not something that is supported on their devices, as well as a number of other platforms and technology. And I wanted to know what other alternatives you have for like other club members, not for just my club, but like all these other organizations, because I'm sure this isn't just a solo issue.
I'm sorry, you're saying that your device doesn't support Teams? You're breaking up a little bit for me.
I'm saying that a lot of my officers and what I think is a lot of other officers and other club organizations might have technology and other devices that don't support Microsoft as like a software.
Okay, so that's new to me. I haven't really heard about that, with the exception of one other person. Every single device, Microsoft Teams /office.com should be accessible at any specific device. So to find an alternative, there really isn't an alternative, but to find support and how to make sure that this software is able to be implemented in this hardware, whether it's a laptop, an iPad, or anything like that, you will have to contact ITS and they will be able to support you. Does that make sense, Jackson?
Of course, yeah. I'll get right on that on my end.
Perfect. And if you have any issues, which I'm pretty sure ITS can support you, just let me know.
Yeah, and Michael wrote something great. There's Teams on a browser as well, on any browser. All NAU students have access to Teams through ITS, which is really nice. Olivia, how can we help you?
Hi, so I'm with NAU Women's Club Volleyball, and I don't know if you guys are going to be able to help with this issue, but so last year they decided to make 2 teams. So we have a gold team and a Navy team underneath like the women's club, whatever. And so the issue that we're having is practice times, because as a sports club, we're only allowed to have 6 hours total. But if we have 24 girls, like 2 teams, that's not like a ton of time. And our president, Lauren, who couldn't make it today, but we had Jaden come on instead. Lauren suggested making 2 clubs so that we could each get the amount of practice time that we needed, but it wouldn't let us do that because it was already a pre-existing club in I'm pretty sure it was the ASNAU, or the SOAR form. And I just wasn't sure if you guys were able to help us with that, or if like had any information about that.
I can answer that, Michelle, because I think me and Jamie have been working on it. Olivia, I think Jamie, and if I remember, somebody in your team submitted an event request form. And I think Jamie approved it because you get confirmation that you both are different clubs, that you compete as 2 different clubs. So I would just go into your event request form and just comment saying, hey, Jamie, do you have any follow-up? I'm pretty sure she replied, but I would just double check. But I think Jamie was the one that made that exception for for your teams.
Okay.
And then if you want to follow up with an email too, just email jamie.flood and CC me. And then I'm pretty sure Jamie will be able to be flexible because you have a unique case as a sports club with 2 teams.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. Thank you.
It sounds like it would be similar to how IceJex is formed. So there's a D2 and a D3. So yeah, I put Jamie's email in the chat just in case you didn't have it.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, it's pretty much like this, like we compete in different divisions and whatever. So it sounds like it'd be similar to the hockey as well.
Well, perfect.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay, any other questions before we end the call?
I have a question. So I'm with IFSA, the International Forest Students Association. We're a new club just trying to start up. So how would we compete? Our account is frozen right now. How would we become unfrozen? It says that we didn't complete the SOAR thing. how are we able to like redo that or anything so we can become a club member? Since we are a worldwide association, we have to like be super on top of things. So yeah.
Go for it, Salvador.
I'm answering all these questions. No, you bring a great question, and unfortunately, that's something that we could definitely take care of it, but it has to be now taking care of it by September. So you all got an email notifying you that you have to complete your SOAR requirement. You all should have gotten an email to complete this in the first week of April, and you had until May 3rd to complete it. After May 3rd, we extended the deadline until July 31st for those specific clubs and orgs that were not able to complete it because they were either still through elections, they didn't see our previous emails or methods of communication. So now that is August 7th, we are now freezing every single club that did not complete SOAR until the month of September. So during the second week of school, you can email student.orgs@nau.edu and say, hey, my club is frozen because I did not complete SOAR. Can you let me know what I could do to unfreeze it? And yes, technically you will be frozen for a whole month, which you are technically going to be, unfortunately, not be able to take part of our club fairs, the first two, but at least it's better than not being frozen for the entire academic year. And we're most likely going to be able to open up our club fair on September 12th. So just once September 1st hits, then you're more than welcome to email us and we'll provide you with the steps on how to be unfrozen. Yeah, perfect. I know you were muted, but I think you said okay. Any other questions? All right, I don't think we have any more questions, Michelle.
Cool. All right, we'll see y'all on Wednesday.
I'm sorry, I had a question.
Oh, go for it.
I wasn't unable to get another officer. Sorry, I'm representing SHP, Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers. And I wasn't able to get another officer to attend because all the other officers were busy.
Were you able to get a regular member to attend?
No, because I sent an email out and tried communicating with the club. Only a few officers got back to me and said they were busy, and none of the members like reached out saying, I just, didn't get anybody respond back to me about it.
Okay. Jose, just email me directly and I'll provide you with the next steps.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, we will go ahead and end the call unless there's anyone else. All right, we'll see y'all Wednesday.